Blog Talk Radio.
Shalom, Lekulam. Peace to everyone. Welcome to the Reset Button Season 3. This season, we welcome the listener to join us while we journey through Isaiah, one of the most controversial books in the Word. We would like to accomplish understanding of the salvation of Israel mentioned. Is it one spoken of in the New Testament? Is it someone we're waiting on? Or is it in the past? Walk through this with us as we attempt to uncover this mystery. The call-in number is 516-595-8238. And press 1 at any time that you have questions or that you would like to leave a comment. Our collective email is histaught1talkradio@gmail.com. Our Facebook page is His Taught Ones and His Taught Ones Talk Radio. We also have the YouTube page at His Taught Ones Talk Radio. Subscribe, and we'll be posting our episodes every week. Shalom, and have a good show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another season of His Taught Ones. Talmidim, yo, here we go, back at it again. You did yourself, Shema and some friends. We learned hard through better sheets, the Melachim, now fresh start to what is hot. I never yin, yeah, here come the prophets, they're dropping some knowledge, abolishing doctrines, apology nonsense. They bring the word, you can call them the pinpoint, given by the hand of the head, he is the pinpoint. Yeah, or could it be it's another? So many distances from the children, it's a misnomer. Honestly, the aroma is hideously unbearable. There is no one accord. How dare we say that we're hearing you? I don't wanna see nobody unbelief.
Kadosh Yisrael, Holy One of Israel. Anachnu modim lecha al yom nosaf we al milah. We thank you for another day and for your word. Barech bivakasha et ha-mifkash hazeh. Please bless this gathering. Bo'u nishmiah. Let us say Amen. Amen.
Shalom, shalom, mishpacha. Welcome to another segment of the Reset Button. This is Shema Talmido, and I'm happy to be here with you. I believe I have my co-hosts, my panelist members, Yedidia, and Yosef. Are you there? We have you.
Yeah. That mute button was real tough on me, right there. I'm here.
All right. Well, this week we're continuing into chapters 27 through 30, right? I think 27. Yeah, 27 through 30, and continuing from the previous week, starting to get a little juicy this week, I believe. So I'm anxious to see what these fellas have, and also those that are tuning in. If they come on, I want to hear what you all have as well. Did your brothers have any opening statements that you would like to start with before we get started?
You can go ahead yourself if you got some.
All I want to say is I did see some good, interesting points. I want to see what these other brothers have seen. Excuse me if I have a little wind. I'm sorry. But I want to see what these other brothers have seen. It's been That's I'm ready to get to it because there's some stuff in there I got questions about. You know how I am. I question and then I have comments on certain things, and I think a lot of stuff will be touched today that well, from when I read it, especially these 4 chapters, I've seen stuff that I never saw before, and I see the origin of certain things, where stuff come from. So it's very interesting to see that type of stuff. And just as another week goes by of contextual, but I wanted to say another word. Objective looking, contextual but objective. Looking at the scriptures at a different, with different eyes. It's always interesting and fun, and I'm just excited to be here another week. This is always great. So that's all I have. Shalom to everyone, and let's get it cracking.
Well, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Same here, man. I read the chapters. There's some stuff that I know beforehand. Some of those ones that people use a lot, you know what I'm saying, like the precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. So, it's a few of those things. Like you said, maybe some of the origin of some stuff, but then also it's like when I was seeing it, I'm like, I never heard of this, you know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying? So I think today going to be pretty interesting. I think it's going to be more so a lot of questions, because I got questions too. You said you had questions yourself. So I think it's going to be a lot of trying to figure out stuff live, that we probably going to have to go back to, break from here and go back and probably look deeper on our own and then come back, bring it back to the table. So, that's kind of how I'm kind of looking at the show today. And then I just really, I guess like you, ready to get to it, see what happened. That's it, man. Ain't no need to talk too much, so just get to it. Yellow. Is anybody talking? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I was talking. I was saying I know you normally like to give backgrounds of before we get started. I was wondering if you wanted to give a background before we get started, or did you want me just to go ahead and proceed? I was just going to get started from 27 going forward.
Sure. I'll do a little background. I think it's necessary going into this one because it cut it off right at the point, just so we could jog everybody's memory that listened last week, and if they didn't listen, just catch them up to speed. So I'm pulling up my notes right now from last week. Let me jump on it real quick. So basically last week where we ended chapter prior to the chapter we're going into today, chapter 26, it was talking about judgment upon the land or the earth, however you want to say it. And so it was after they had sung the song of salvation. That was the beginning part of the chapter that we ended on last week. And then it was talking about the people taking refuge because of this judgment on the land. In 21 it said, for behold, and I'm reading from the KJV, for behold the Lord, the New King James Version rather, for behold the Lord comes out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for the iniquity, or for their iniquity. The earth will also disclose her blood and will no more cover her slain. And then it's going into 27. So just from my understanding, like the topic hasn't changed yet as we going into 27 and 1. It's still a continuation of what's being said from chapter 26.
Appreciate that. I'm sure those that's listening does as well. So as he has stated, it's continuing from 26 going into 27, and we see in verse 1 specifically, kicking it off, that the Most High is putting a sense of punishment against, I would say, the world's powers. So I mean, he's giving you an analogy with I never know how to say these creatures, man. I think it's Leviathan or Leviathan.
Yeah.
But when you read it, it says, on that day, Yah will bring punishment with his harsh, great, mighty sword upon Leviathan, the bar-like serpent, and upon Leviathan, the twisting serpent. So that's 2. And he will kill the great fish that is in the sea. So, when I'm reading that, I'm not seeing it as though it's one specific fish, quote unquote. I think that is to be like an analogy to certain groups. To whom, I don't know. I just don't know if I see it as actual creatures in the sea. That's just me. So I don't know what you about to say when you read that.
So for me, like, no, I don't think it's a literal serpent or anything like that. I just think, like it's figurative speech that it's talking about. But what I found interesting about it is that I've never heard of this, like this name being used right here. When most people dealing with the serpent, or they say the serpent, you know what I'm saying, the first name come to your mind is Satan or Satan. You know what I'm saying? I've never heard like this. To be honest with y'all, this is my first time ever coming across this name right here. So that was interesting to me because...
Well, Leviathan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so just being transparent right now, this is my first time running across this terminology as far as with the serpent, and I've never ever heard anybody, whether, no matter what denomination or organization that they are associated with, I've never heard nobody use this term when they talking about the serpent. They always say Satan is the serpent or whatever like that. So that was something new for me. It's interesting because I've never heard nobody else say it. So I guess right now my mind is trying to soak that in and receive that. I don't know how my spirit gonna react afterwards, but that's where I'm at with that.
I want to speak on that Leviathan. I have heard it in another book. Also, I was speaking also. I don't like to jumping out of context, but I'm just wanting to bring in a word thing, as far as Leviathan. I haven't seen it. I never really remember seeing it in Isaiah and linked to the serpent as well. That was one of the things that I've seen as far as it being like a serpent, Leviathan. But in Job, as the Most High has referenced that same creature, and he was like, well, who tamed the Leviathan and put the hook in his nose? For me, I just always thought of it as this must have been a creature, either a creature that was back then or a creature we don't know about or something. That's where I've been at, before this day or whatever. So I never really took, the time to go deep into it when I read it beforehand. I was like, oh, okay, well, he was talking about creatures, and he named a couple creatures or whatever. And I even used it at one point to say, well, this could have been a dinosaur. You know what I'm saying? Who knows what it is? And actually, I believe that it gives a description of this creature in Job. So it talks about his scales, how big the scales are, and how big this actual creature is. And when the Most High was talking to Job at the time, he was like, basically like, I'm finna super paraphrase. I'm the man. I control all this. I control Leviathan. I control the stars. He named stars. He named another little animal I ain't never heard of. He said, I tame that beast. Who can tame that beast? You know what I'm saying? That type of stuff. But yet and still, going back over it, it could also be figures of speech. I have, since I'm with a new pair of eyes, I'm not, nothing's 100%. I'm just giving you what I used to think and where I used to be. So, come across any new information or whatever, then of course, I guess I could say, I hit the reset button. But I never really studied deep into it, kind of read it, and you're trying. Most of the time, I ain't even gonna lie to you, when I was reading, when I read the Bible before, it was almost looking for it wasn't looking for something that I didn't know per se, more so kind of trying to get the general knowledge of everything, soaking it in that way. So now that we're kind of combing over this thing with a fine-tooth comb, it changes the game up, on my understanding of things. That's all.
Appreciate that. I'm going to go down I'm going to speak from 2 to 5, and let me know if you all have anything from 2 to 5 after I say what I'm going to bring out. So we see that, the Most High is speaking of these, well, from my perspective, these powers. Normally I say what is and what isn't, but right now I'm not going to be firm on what I'm seeing. This is just my subjective thought right here, not really objectively speaking. But on the day, people were saying, this is Stone's edition, by the way. Anybody that's listening in that's not used to me reading this. On that day, people were saying about Israel, vineyard of fine wine. Now, I do recall, I don't know if you all recall in previous chapters of Yeshayahu or Isaiah, it spoke on them also being the vineyard. And I also spoke on, I forgot what it was I brought out. I wish I would have wrote that down now. If it coming to me today, I'll bring it back out. But I know we spoke on that. What am I at? It says, I am Yah who guards it. I water it frequently, lest it be held to account against it. Night and day I will guard it. I have no wrath. This vineyard being Israel, right? I have no wrath. We know the Most High has wrath. So what is he really speaking of when he says this right here? If only I were at war, if the weeds and the thorns, I would then trample it and set it all together afire. When I read this, I look at it as if the Most High was to perform or operate in full wrath against Israel, or the world, I would say these powers, he will have to against Israel, who he is trying to get their act together, who we see is trying to get their act together, and they're supposed to be, as we read in past times, the light to the world, right? So if he it's no way for him to give full wrath to the rest of the world and not do it to Israel in total. This is my thoughts. It's not in stone. So when it says I have no wrath, that's how I'm looking at it. I'm not looking at it as he don't have any at all, because we know that's not true. And I'm going to end at 5, and then, you all jump in if you have anything to say towards what I'm saying or something else or against what I'm saying. So we go down to 5. So verse 5, it says, if Israel will grasp my stronghold, then he will make peace with me. Peace would he make with me. Days are coming when Jacob will take root, Israel will bud and blossom and fill the face of the earth with fruit. My question to you all is, we've seen these personifications given out up to this point. We have shown that the Most High has called Israel he and she. At this point in verse 5, is he speaking to Israel when he says he, or was he talking about himself? I will ask. And if he was saying he towards Israel, does this open the door for understanding towards those that's listening that the Most High or the Scriptures itself speaks, like I always try to point out, personifying certain groups, and we have to be careful when attaching the he and the she towards certain groups or individuals. We have to understand contextually what he's speaking. Do y'all agree with that, or am I way off?
If you allow me to give my thoughts. When I read it, I thought he would have been Israel or a group of people, that he's speaking to, and said, let him take hold of my strength. This is why I said it. Because I say it's my strength, and that's why. And then the person that's speaking is the Most High at the time. And I know sometimes he can flip it up, but this is why I started my strength, that he may make peace with me, and he shall make peace with me. And then previously he's talking about I would just make some sort of judgment. You know what I mean? So that's that. And then when you're done with this, I don't want you to go too far, because I wanted to say something about verse 2. I kind of had like a brain fart. Went to 1 and I missed it. I wanted to just mention something too. But that was my rendition of what I thought about 5.
All right. Kadia, you have anything?
So you just specifically talking about 5, or you talking about going down into 6 and 7?
Well, I mean, you could take it there. I was just saying 5 at that point.
Because the version I have, there's no he in 5, so I only see a he in verse 7.
Okay, verse 7 says in my version, says, did he strike him? So it's still pointing towards a he.
Yeah, so, let me just read. So today I'm using the Tree of Life version. So in 5 it say, rather let them rely on my strength. So that I would take it, that would be the Most High.
Right.
Let them make peace with me. Again, we have a subject already, so the me will have to be pertaining to the subject, which I identify with the my being the Most High. And then it said,
who's them peace. Before you continue, who would you say them is?
Them would have to be Yisrael, because they're the vineyard. So
right, okay.
That's what I'm getting. And then in 3 we get our subject, because it said I. So that's the subject starting it off. I. This version says Adonai, but I know that's Yah right there. Yod He Waw He, or the Lord. I, the Lord, watch over it. It being the vineyard, which the vineyard is. So we have our 2. We identified already at the beginning of the context. So as we go down, now we're using these personal pronouns. We already know who's who. So once we start down, we dealing with first and second person speech. So, so in 5, so the me or the my, that's the Most High, and them is Yisrael, because when you go down to 6, like I was saying, in 6, he said I could take it there. So in days to come, Yaakov will take root. So now it put that name out there. So, and Yaakov is Israel. So, and it even says it after that, will take root, Israel will blossom and bud and fill the face of the world with fruit. So, and then, goes into 7. But I ain't want to just run with it, so.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well,
if you want to continue.
Yourself, jump in whenever you said you didn't want him to go too far. So it said, did he strike Israel?
Are you good? Because you said something about the vineyard, and I just wanted to point out that vineyard part right there, because that might become important later on. So since you kind of referenced it already, it's going to be getting it back. Good, bro.
All right, cool. All right, so he said, will fill the face of the world with fruit. 7, did he strike Israel as he struck those who struck them? So again, we got this plural personal pronoun, them, that's Israel. So he's saying, did he strike Israel as he struck those who struck them? So as we've been seeing, the Most High been using other nations to kind of chasten Israel. So he's saying that he strike them, the people that he used to strike Israel, as he struck Israel. So it's in question form. I don't know if y'all is written in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Say, or were they slain as their slayers were slain? So basically saying, did he place the same judgment on the people that he used to judge them? So you know what I'm saying, I don't know if anybody had anything before 9. But
yeah, I just wanted to go back up to 6 real quick while you're here.
Okay.
Say it there, he shall cause them to come, they come of Jacob to take root. Israel shall blossom and bud, and fill the face of the world with fruit. This referencing of blossoming, budding, vineyard being references to Israel and the things they shall do, this will be something that I point to later on because of the scripture that comes to my mind that is in Isaiah later on. So we'll get to it, but I just wanted to point that out. I went to the vineyard, and there's other instances where, Israel is spoken of as certain things, trees, such and such. So don't find it strange when it comes up later on. And I say something like, yeah, this is Israel, or I believe this is Israel, because if y'all following us, you would say, oh, I see why he say that, because it's not saying that I'm right or whatever, because I haven't gotten there in my contextual yet, but just something to look out for. And then you go ahead.
No, I think it's important that we establish that. That's why I said I was trying to figure out. I can't remember, man. I should have wrote that down before this show. But I remember bringing it out a while back, showing the different personifications that was given and how it was addressed towards whom it was speaking of in those chapters. I might have to make sure I go back and find it before, as we continue to go forward, if they continue to show this. But I think it's important that we do see this consistent way of speech when dealing Yisrael. I think that we lose focus on the consistency that the Most High or that the Scriptures presents itself when dealing with these things, when we get to certain parts that we have been either that are very strong in our that are very strong in our belief and or a strong point in our doctrine. So we lose the context and the consistency within the scriptures. So that's why I wanted to point that out. Maybe it wasn't clear enough, so I'm going to make sure that I find it as we continue to go forward if we see this again, and I'm going to reference this part that I'm trying to bring out now that I haven't, lack of that text I wanted to present. So I'll make sure when we go forward that I bring it out, and I remind you all, because we've been bringing this out all the way up to this point. And I just want to make sure we don't forget that. Anybody else have anything as we continue in this chapter?
Yeah.
Another thing. You know what? Sometimes I be looking at stuff after we talk about it, and I be like, let me say something. So we was talking to Seven, that he has smitten him as he smote those that smote him. Okay, and him, in that context, we agreed that's Israel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. So notice here that Israel is being smoked, smitten, struck, whatever. I don't speak like that. But I just said my KJV, so whatever. But yeah, notice here that Israel is being punished. Y'all say it. And
it's a him.
Because we
by
know
the way, it's a him.
Yeah,
singular him. Right. The singular him is being referred to a group of people. This is now that we got eyes and fresh ears and all that extra stuff. Notice, the verbiage. You have to understand that the writer is going to write the same. If I write, I'm going to write the same way. I use analogies all the time. Anybody that speaks to me know I use analogies. And I probably use them a lot on this show. I just don't notice them that much. But if I was to write and say I wrote a whole letter, or I had a lecture or something like that or something, and it's something that sounds like me, but the whole lecture you'd be like, that don't really, it's my voice, but you're like, that don't really sound like him, because I ain't never heard him say some of them words, or they make fun of me on some of the stuff that I say, you know what I'm saying, every now and then, and we don't even know what we say all the time, okay? So this is something that's being spoken to, Isaiah, and Isaiah writes it. So he's going to continue to speak to Isaiah in a certain kind of way, and Isaiah is going to continue to write in a certain kind of way, and it's going to continue to line up. It's something that we cannot just push to the side and try to make up our own little reasons, because this is the reality of it. You know what I'm saying? As far as somebody writing something, or even if somebody's speaking something, they're going to stay how they are. Nobody speaks, and then every time you talk to them, they got a whole new verbiage, a whole new vernacular, way they say stuff, and the emphasis on their voices. That's like so unrealistic. So I promise you, they're saying this because it's for a reason, a good reason, and when we get there, like we say, all it is to present the evidence. Okay, well, y'all seen how he was speaking beforehand, and in these instances, we are saying, oh, yeah, this is for sure Israel. Now, not saying that it has to be the same way all the way through. I'm just saying that we can't throw out the fact that a singular him or he is used for a plural group of people, and this is not uncommon in the Hebrew literature that we're reading. That's what I want to say about that. And then I want to, is he slain according to the slaughter of them that are slain by him? So this is Israel being smoten, smitten, struck, whatever, and slain or killed. That's my definition of slain, I thought, for sure. And look at how you got to pay close attention. or is he slain according to the slaughter of them that are slain by him? Like, they might throw in some stuff like that. Well, you just said him. Now you're going to say them. You know what I'm saying? It can be confusing, but this is where the contextual study goes in, because we know he's talking or speaking about a group of people. It hasn't stopped talking about a group of people, except for, even when he talks about the groups of people that came to do these things to Israel, they're even a singular, as the guy probably say, what, singular, masculine, and I'm teasing him because we had a conversation early this week, but that's just something to just keep your eye on, right? Just confirming what they say.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that has to be known. But because that's what the show is about, context and checking out consistency, because that's, if we believe in the Most High Power, we know that He's Elohim of consistency. That's what I do not change truly means in my thoughts. I don't change in operation, because we have proven that He does change His mind in certain aspects. That's what the guy brought out one point way back in Deuteronomy, Devarim, I believe it was, when he told them to give him the firstborn of all Israel, I believe it was first, and then he asked for only the priests instead. That's changing. It's changing my thoughts. So what does change really mean? Is operation is how he operates. It's in all matters combined, and he's very consistent. Is what I believe. So that was, what verse was that? I'm on the wrong chapter. That was verse 7, 8. Oh no, 9. Did y'all have anything else? I really didn't have too much for the rest of the chapter.
Yeah, I had something for 9.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So we ain't got to talk about this too long. But I did want to address the fact, like I said, I'm reading from the Trill Life version. So it says in 9, it says, so by this will Yaakov's sin be atoned, and this is the full price to remove his sin. Colon, right?
Yep.
All right, so colon, if you understand grammar and stuff like that, when it's a colon.
Wait a minute. Wait. I didn't see this before. Hold on.
You gotta hold it on.
Go ahead. I did not see this before. Go ahead. My bad. You got a little excited.
40 son. All right, so colon, it says, and that means it's further elaborating the thought before the colon. So I'll read it again. So by this will Yaakov's or Jacob's sin be atoned, and this the full price. You know what I'm saying? Full price. It ain't no, you know how they say, bought with a price, like just talking about full. This is a full repayment. This is not just a piece of the payment. This is a full thing. To remove his, so it's singular again as the brother. I just want to point that out. Yaakov.
Yes, people.
But
and I know I'm interrupting you, but I wish the world heard you. I wish the world heard this right now, especially the people of the truth. I wish they heard this part. But go ahead.
Remove his sin. But we know this is a group of people, so this is just another piece of evidence showing that this is how they write, this is how they think when it comes to looking at the nation or a tribe or however you want to look at it. So remove his sin.
Hey,
all right?
Real quick. You got to teach some Hebrew on this part. Why do it make sense that it's saying his for a mass group? You too, brother. Before you continue.
Because it's just gender and
yes.
Gender and number agreement in Hebrew.
Yes.
So like when
and
you
the
look
reason
at
he's
Yaakov,
saying, go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yaakov is a singular masculine noun. So when you get to the pronoun, it has to match in Hebrew.
Exactly.
So that's why you see that.
Exactly.
And it's men
so
involved. There's men involved in that.
Let me make this let me dumb it down for the people that.
That's what I was about to do. That's what I'm about to do.
Listen to me.
I
mean, not listen to me. My bad.
It's
men
men
involved. I was going to say the people like me.
I'm trying to explain it real quick. Is men involved in this group? So whenever it's men involved, when you're speaking to a group in this aspect, the masculine form takes precedence. So when it's talking about, but go ahead. I just wanted to, because it relates to the Hebrew language as well. I just wanted to say that.
Well,
so
I want to elaborate. I'm glad you said that because I had a little bit more to add to that. Also, if you say Jacob, which is a man, singular man, your other words are going to line up with the Jacob, the subject. Jacob is who you're talking about, which is a group of people of Israel. But the way they used it has to line up. Everything has to line up the same way. So if I was to use a feminine word, a feminine thing, my verb has to be feminine. And everything, you know what I'm saying? Like it has to stay in that. I was going to say construct.
So what he's saying,
I'm trying to use a better
term,
word.
Subject verb agreement. So
yeah,
always
that's a technical term.
Your words have to agree in the Hebrew language because Hebrew is a gender and number based language.
Correct. Go ahead
and continue. So I just wanted to bring that up, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's it in a nutshell, and to me that sounds simple. And it might not. If anybody has questions on what is being said, please don't hesitate to hit the one, because I know if you don't. For me, I ain't gonna lie to you. Before I even started studying the Hebrew or whatever, I didn't understand that. So it's not that I'm or any of us is trying to say, oh yeah, we're telling you this because y'all stupid or something like that. Not at all. This is not something that I understood learning English and going through school. I wasn't that great with the English thing, whatever, as far as grammatical. So this isn't something that I feel is an automatic thing. And I'm pretty sure that's why these brothers are bringing them out too.
I want to know why I'm telling you. I'm telling you because this can defeat doctrine. This goes consistently with the consistency that we bringing out of how he speaks to Israel. We see he says her sometimes, but then now he's saying him. And we saw him a few times in regards to Israel. And now we all brought out subject and verb agreement. That's still Hebrew language. It agrees. So I'm bringing things that agree with each other. So as we continue, we will see the connection. It's no and if so buts. There's no way to say, y'all made that up. That's what I'm saying. There's no way that anybody can say that his taught ones or Shema or Yediyah or Yosef has made
bringing
this
a doctrine.
I'm showing you that even the language itself agrees with what we're bringing out. And it's not even us bringing out. It's the scriptures bringing it out consistently. So go ahead, Yediyah. I just wanted to.
I want to give it one more example. This is one that Yediyah had taught me. So that shouts out to Yediyah. And if I say it wrong, just correct me or whatever. When you hear like Jerusalem, it's like a feminine thing. So when it says, it'll say Jerusalem, then it'll say her land. So now you can't say, you're not saying that the land is actually a female. This is what as the English mind won't grasp that right away. But since Jerusalem is a feminine thing, it has to line up. You can't use the feminine thing and then say his land, because then that wouldn't make sense in the Hebrew Semitic ancient way that they spoke in being direct. So a lot of time when you see her land, and if I'm not mistaken, I think I'm like, even the word land is feminine, isn't it?
Yeah, it's feminine.
So that even more, you know what I'm saying, goes like you can't say his land. That. Like as far as if you're describing the land, like if you're saying that this turf, you know what I'm saying, as far as when you see Jerusalem, to be specific, let me use Jerusalem. Okay. Like I said, you correct me if I'm wrong if I didn't grasp this, because it was some months ago we talked about this. But he said Jerusalem was a feminine word, was whatever. So you will see her land in reference to Jerusalem. So that's how he told me a couple months ago, and it makes sense. It made sense when he put it that way, because I've seen it used like that. So just using your example, yeah.
Yeah, so anything like land in the Hebrew language is considered feminine. Like no matter, even if it has a masculine look to it, it's still feminine. It's considered feminine, along with another thing like any pair of body parts. Like hands is a feminine word. So moving forward,
Ruach is feminine too. So
yeah, Ruach is feminine too.
Anyway,
when he makes all the altar stones like shattered chalk stones, so that the Ashtoreth poles and incense rise no more. All right, so with this coupled all together, my point is that it said this is how Yaakov's sin were to be atoned, like full price, not half price, full price. Like this is how it's to be paid in full. I know a lot of people done seen that movie, Paid in Full. So to remove his sins, So basically, it's through abolishing idol worship. When you abolish idol worship, that is how Yaakov's sin is to be atoned, based off of what I'm reading right here. I ain't adding nothing to it. I just read the scripture straight up. You know what I'm saying? And it said Asherah, poles, and incense, because we read about how he was talking about they would burn the incense to idols. You know what I'm saying? Ashtoreth is one of those idols. We're talking about the Ashtoreth pole. This also, I'll get to that later. But so this is showing you that it's an actual idol that they made with their hands. We're talking about wood and stone that they built with their own hands, and they worshiping it. Like this is what this is referencing to. So that right there stuck out to me. I've never saw that before I did this study last night, but I think that's big for anybody that's seeking out salvation, and that, you know what I'm saying, that has focused on how do I gain my salvation. I know the theme of this season that yourself put in the mission statement was, you know, what salvation is Yeshayahu talking about? A future one of the that has already passed and all this. So salvation is a big thing going through Yeshayahu. They talk about it a lot. We've seen it in a couple instances. This right here was big for me because people always talk about how you atone for your sins and all that. So this simply say this ain't even talking about killing anything.
Right.
This said just to destroy idols and get rid of them. It said, and so they won't rise no more. So basically, it's like, okay, we seen them put away their idols many times, but they keep popping up. He's talking about getting rid of them forever. That's how they are to remove their sin, and it to be paid in full. So that's just something to put on your mind and meditate on. And maybe that's
video coming.
Maybe we could talk about that on the rest show. Go a little more in deep, because one of the big things, and this last thing I'm going to say, one of the big things that we ran across in Malachim, in the Kings, was this sin of Jeroboam, where he had these idols, these calves set up. So that was something big for the Most High. The Most High don't play when it comes to these idols. So I think that is worth us talking about idol worship. So let me write that down on my pad.
Yeah. Can I say just a little something about this? I'm not gonna get too deep because it's going on the pad. I want to just say that I don't know how I missed this. Like when y'all said he don't know how he missed this. This is not highlighted. What was I doing? Okay, because if y'all noticed when we was going through Malachim, the kings, I kept pointing out, man, this idol worshiping, this idol worshiping, this idol worshiping. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying, how did I miss this? Because if y'all notice, I'm like, man, I'm focusing on these sins that they got them in trouble. Okay, so now this says a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's like solidifies what we've been reading, but it's like, you know, of course, remember that Isaiah is speaking in the time that we was reading Kings. Mm-hmm. So this is big for them right now. Okay? This is going on. This is happening. And the Most High at this point also is saying to himself, he's saying to them, look, I'm giving you a chance. This is grace. Go tell them, man, I'm finna beat y'all up if y'all don't stop. And they hard-headed. So it's been some grace. He's giving them a grace period, and we're going to continue to point out grace periods too. But he gave them warning. Warning comes before destruction. This is a term saying. I don't think, you know, nobody's heard that. So that's all I'm gonna say. Like, this has been big for me. I'm highlighting this, and I'm so glad that this is why we do this. You know what I'm saying? There's multiple eyes on this thing. That's why we encourage y'all put y'all eyes on it too. Don't let us come out with this information. You know, it ain't that. Y'all can see something too. So that's to anybody listening in online. That's why we really encourage this participation, because this stuff is, you know what I mean, it's serious. Easily I could miss something. Easily y'all can miss something. Shema can miss something. And we all think of ourselves, and we try to comb through this thing and try to find anything. And this is what our brains caught on to. This is what his brains caught on to. Just think of how much more if everybody is on it. So, my bad. You know how I feel about that. So, this is that's not even a rest show topic. Keep going. I got something for the last two verses. That's what that's all I got. So
y'all can finish it out, man, because like I said, I don't have anything else for the rest of this chapter.
Oh yeah. I mean, what you got, y'all? If you got something,
you got something for the last two verses.
12 and 13.
Yeah, I got that too. That's the only thing I got left. So you can go ahead and jump on that.
All right, I'm going to read out the KJV. And it says, it shall come to pass that in that day that the Most High shall beat off the channel of the river unto the stream of Egypt, and ye shall be scattered, one by one, gathered, one by one, O ye children of Israel. The thing I saw in that was, first off, that you would be gathered one by one. Now, no, that doesn't have to naturally mean one by one, but it could be a terminology like, it ain't finna happen no quickly. Now, that's what he's saying now. And I always say history does have a tendency to repeat itself. And if Israel's in this condition, you say you Israel. This is what we live for. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that the Most High, had the blessings for Israel, whatever. But anyway, in that gathering, I want to go back to, that is Deuteronomy 30. It's one of my favorite ones. It talks about a gathering. So, I'll be the first to admit that we might make a matchup and, I might have to knock a whole thought process on my head as far as Deuteronomy 38 being fulfilled. That's something I saw like, man, I might see some fulfilling us to gather, and then he talk about that link up to something. So, y'all know that's a big one for me. Then 13.
Let me write that topic down because we need to talk about that.
Yeah.
The gathering.
The gathering. And I don't know, we can't even go that far back, but when we first started this thing, and, of course, my mindset was a lot different then, man, that's the gathering was what I lived for. If y'all heard me talk about that, some of them shows. When we talked about that on the show, I don't know if y'all brothers remember, that's a sensitive subject for me. It was, at least it was. But I got a whole new mindset, so, and I see where I came from. When I seen this, I was like, oh. Okay, but anyway, I'm going to 13. It's come to pass in that day that the great trumpet shall be blown. Uh-oh. And they shall come which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria. Uh-oh. And the outcasts of the land of Egypt. Wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
And kings. Yeah, uh-oh. In Kings, they went to Assyria and in Egypt, and he's going to say something later on that I know I read, you know what I'm saying, and I ain't really had a time to go back, but I'm going to try to go back and find it. Context killing me.
So, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm glad you brought up the whole Deuteronomy thing. I see, and a lot of times, like, I wish people would be a little more receptive to the information, because we say we want the truth, but then it's kind of like if it destroys your doctrine, it's kind of like I rather would just stay with this lie because this is what's pushing the people. You know what I'm saying? And when he said it kind of made me feel good that he was like, man, I got to kind of off this whole Deuteronomy thing, because I think I had a conversation. I don't know which one of y'all it was, personal conversation, when I was talking about this whole Egypt thing, because people try to make Egypt a spiritual thing. I said, I got to stick with my guns. If I say something ain't spiritual, then I pick and choose what's spiritual and what ain't. That ain't how it go. You know what I'm saying? So when they say I'm going to take you back to the land of Egypt on ships, like we want to make the Egypt spiritual, but the ship is literal. You know what I'm saying? But right here it just talks about exile.
See, here we go, though, like,
in the land of Egypt.
I just want to throw something in. People always say, right there for the ships, and then you can keep going, but people always say that the ships, when did they ever go back on ships? Now, and then that used to, like, kind of make, but then you got to think about it. How did they get from Egypt in the first place? The Red Sea opened up, and they walked on dry ground. I mean, it was a lot of water. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
How you think they got back there when the captivity happened in Kings? Man, go ahead, keep going, man.
Right, and then on top of that, it's just telling us right now it's exiles in the land of Egypt. You know what I'm saying? America ain't around at this time, so we can't say this Egypt is America. So we see that they exiled. They in the land of Assyria. We saw that in Kings. We seen Egypt on the scene. And then also it talks about, right, it talks about, what I'm going to say, we've been reading about ships, and the people with the tall, smooth skin and people on ships. So it ain't like they have ships going back and forth. So we see in the context of what we've been reading that it been shipped. Now, this ain't to kill nobody belief that they Israel, but we can't take stuff out of context and try to make it fit. I mean, I know for sure that people that got off good ship Jesus were Israelites, but it don't mean that that pertained to that. That's what I'm saying. So I just wish people would be a little more open-minded to that, because that's not taken away. It's just facts is facts. You know what I'm saying? And it don't have to take away from the fact that people that got off that boat was Israelites. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm going to say right here on the show, you know what I'm saying, that's a reset button for me. You know what I'm saying? For real. That ain't got to be brought. You write that down, because that's going to be the summary thing. You know what I'm saying? Talk
right.
about my reset. You feel me?
Right,
so
on ships. Yeah, that's all I'm going to put. I'll remember what it is. Yourself. All right, so.
Not even like the on ships thing, but more so, let me elaborate just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? More so that them curses was a identifier. You know what I'm saying? When I first came into this thing, they was not saying that they don't take a part, but that was the part, though. Take you back away Egypt and when it shifts, and then they sell you into the we in Egypt and woo, look at all that idolatry. Wow. When did they ever do that? That's where it gets you, though. When do you see that in the scripture? And you don't read these parts like that. I'm stuck in the New Testament. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to figure that thing out. That's where the salvation lay. Nah, this is where the salvation lay. Because a lot of those prophecies that's used come out of here. But, here we go, that's all I'm saying is like, that's where I was at. You know what I'm saying? And I was sold, I was convinced, and I ain't never read it before, and I read the Bible at that time. Thought I did. You know what I'm saying? But, so at this point, I like them curses, they might not be pertaining to us as far as, because I'm seeing Israel go through them things
like
right here.
It's like, and that's the thing, it's like what we read before, other people was cursed. You know what I'm saying? Other people was judged. So who's to say we didn't do something while we was dispersed in Africa? And the Most High said, that's why I say we going off of this history book. People probably still was writing stuff or just didn't write it down. That's why I say we got to write for ourselves. We got to make moves for ourselves with the Most High. He's still living. He's still prevalent. Like, he was speaking to these people about their situations and what was going on with them. We got to connect with them and find out what we need to do in this day and age. And we up here trying to go off of what he told us. You know what I'm saying? And that's my
and the one thing
that's
we know for sure.
Over religion.
And see, here's the thing about it all. It shouldn't even matter if you Israelite at this point. This is what you believe. You know what I'm saying? And as you see already, if you on the Most High side, he on your side. And what he don't care nothing about, like man, don't be having no idols. So we got to really check ourselves sometimes. Do I got
right.
idols? You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
and like I say, you know, I came to the Most High in prayer and asked for the truth. And now that I'm getting it, that's all I say. Boom, gotta hit my button. And I'm gonna tell you like this: them buttons ain't easy to push sometimes, because if you where you at in your life, if you was like kind of holding on to that to be, you know what I'm saying, something you could prove, got to let it go. That could be an idol. Shoot, you put that above the word of the Most High. That is an idol. So this really be deep for some of y'all, but if you ain't willing to change your doctrine over what the word is saying, you ain't going by the word of the Most High. You going by a doctrine of man. You going by a doctrine. You idolize that thing. Then you put that above the Most High. That's all I'm gonna say, man. Cause
I know you can go on. That's why I say rest show.
I'm done.
Topics. Elaborate
I'm
on it more. You know what I'm saying? Cause I'm short on time myself. But all right. So I'm gonna try to move through this. But then the only thing else I want to say is we see that they dispersed. We see that he's saying in the land of Syria and in the land of Egypt, and then it say will come and worship Adonai on the holy mountain in Jerusalem. So it's saying where he's talking about gathering them, that's the place where his people's supposed to do the feast and all that anyway, where he placed his name, and it always going to come back to that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't seen it yet where he said, I'm going to gather you somewhere else. So that's it for that chapter. We can move on to 28. Shema, I'll pass it back to you.
Does anybody have anything else before we move on? Is anybody in the queue that want to speak before we move on? I don't want to just go forward without addressing that.
Just put the last verse in. Shall worship the Most High in the holy mountain at Jerusalem. So I'm looking at that also to say, okay, when we see this later on, so if we see it, the gathering from Assyria and them, and then they talk about this worship, that's going to for sure solidify anything that anybody should have to say. So,
okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Anybody in the queue? At all?
No.
All right. We're moving forward. The very first verse, it says, woe to the crown of pride of Ephraim's drunkards. The delight of his glory is a fading blossom. It is like a valley of oil upon the head of those battered by wine. So before we go forward, I want to address who in particular, or should we just wait and continue reading, is it speaking of in this very first verse?
We're talking about Ephraim drunks.
Mm-hmm. Is it talking about everyone at this point? Or is it talking about a specific group within it?
I had that highlighted too.
As a question or something you wanted to bring up?
It say the drunkards of Ephraim, so I'm thinking that's for the 10 tribes. Even though he's a prophet in Judah, that was one thing that kind of stuck out to me. Because we know who they call Ephraim, and one's Judah. You know what I'm saying? So, wow. So I think and then the scepter shall not depart from Judah's hands until they come to Shiloh. Man, something just came to my brain. We talk about
I want to put out
Judah, a whole tribe that you talk about. But anyway, just Ephraim. My bad. And
right. I want to say though, from my understanding, it's not everybody. because everybody's not a drunkard. So I want to specify that. I want to put that out there. And what I want to do, I'm jumping down. Let's see, do y'all have anything before verse 5 that you want to say?
Well, I was just going to talk a little bit about the Ephraim. So we can't really pinpoint exactly what it's talking about, but we know it's a location. It's the mountain country location, and that's where Shemuel was. Like a lot of the priests come from there. And then it's a tribe, and then it's also referred, as Joseph said, to the northern kingdom. And it's a chief gate of Jerusalem. So it could be talking about, just the people in Jerusalem, or any of the things that I named. It could be talking about any of those. So, and then it says of, so it's the proud crown of Ephraim's drunk. So it's not saying that everybody's drunk, but it's just pinpointing those that are drunkards that are in Ephraim, whether that's in the mountain region or it's the tribe or it's those people located by the gate of Jerusalem. They're supposed to be watchers because, what they call them, the watchmen that watch the gates. So it could be either of those, but I just want to put that all out there so everybody will know what it could possibly be. That's it. I only got some on 5, starting at 5.
Go ahead, you kick it off there. That's what I was going to, verse 5.
Oh, you go ahead and go.
All right. So on that day, Yah, Master of Legions, will be the crown of delight and a diadem of glory for the remnant of his people. Verse 6, and a spirit of judgment for he who sits in judgment, and a source of strength for those who return from war to the gate. Verse 7, for they too have erred because of wine and strayed because of liquor. The Kohen, the priest, and the false prophet have erred. So it's telling you who has erred because of liquor and were corrupted by wine. They have strayed because of liquor, erred in vision, perverted justice. We understand that that's very key right there. Perverted justice, in my opinion, is very key. For all the tables are full of vomit. What tables? I don't believe this to be speaking of everyone. I believe it's to be speaking of the classes within the people. And the classes I believe it's speaking of are the leaders. Right. Correct me if I'm wrong to you all.
It's the
verse 9, to whom...
Prophet.
You're right, exactly. And it's
exactly.
telling you who is speaking of. To whom shall one teach knowledge? To whom shall one explain a message? To those weaned from mother's milk, removed from the breast. That's verse 9. For it is commanded by commandment, commandment by commandment, line by line, a bit here and a bit there. For as if with unintelligible speech and in another tongue does one speak to this nation, though he tells them this is the truest, the true rest, give rest to the weary. Okay, so that's important too. He tells them, who is he telling? Who is he telling at this point to give rest to the weary? He's talking to the leaders. He ain't telling the weary to give rest to the weary. He's talking to these leaders. Very important. And this is a true satisfaction. Yet they would not consent to listen. Who is they? It ain't talking about everybody. It's talking about the leaders. They would not listen to him. The word of Yah shall befall them commandment by commandment. Commandment by commandment. Now, before this point, it was saying that their words was that. To who? To the people. Going back up to verse 7. They erred in vision, perverted justice. What is justice? Rightfully judging the people. Their words to the people was commandment upon commandment, this and that. So they telling them to do stuff and just, it's not aligned to what the Most High wanted. He just said to give rest to the weary. We see that in Deuteronomy. It talks how to treat these people. So they erred in the vision. They erred in the vision of the Most High. Now it's the Most High's turn. Let's go. Verse 13. The word of Yah shall be to who? To them, commandment by commandment, commandment by commandment, line by line, line by line, a bit there, here, there, a bit here, and a bit here. We know how the KJV read. So that they will go and stumble backward and be broken and be tripped up and caught. Who is they? Who is them? Now, we do understand that consistently speaking, everybody wasn't doing wrong in Israel, but since, like, for example, if the king did wrong, the people kind of suffered in a sense. Not kind of, they did. But solely speaking on this chapter, we see it says, so they will go and stumble backward and be broken and be stripped up and caught. I'm still passing this and pointing this at the Kohen and the prophets that are speaking of, and it's Ephraim. Y'all can correct me once I'm done.
Therefore, hear the word of Yah. I said, and now it further established, I think, that it's talking about their region, because that's, like I said, that's where a lot of the priests come from, is from Ephraim in the mountains over there.
Right.
So,
right.
So it's and it's dealing with the region, like you said. Like we can't take. And I'm you know why I'm so heavy on this chapter? I'm one of those people that have been trying to tell people and show people that this is not the way that the doctrine has been teaching. And it's funny that you brought out the regional aspect of it. And good, actually. But, we take stuff out of context, man. But let's keep going. If y'all have anything before I continue, we'll go ahead. I'll let y'all speak or whatever. Then I'll continue afterwards.
I wanted to say just a little something on them priests, though. You know what I'm saying? He's saying everything got to be line upon line, command upon command, precept upon precept. That got to be so. To you, line upon line, precept upon precept. And then he continues to say it just like right there, so that you and Shema, you can continue. I just wanted to also bring that part out too. It's not a good thing right now. It's not nothing good also. Talk about a group of people in there, but a lot of times people repeat this. Oh yeah, it got to be line upon line, precept upon precept, here, there, there. It got to be here, there, here a little, there a little. All right. You know what I'm saying? If people spit this out, you're going to see them on your go to any debate group, United One. Just peek your head in one, you're going to see this scripture. Hold on. Go ahead, Shema.
Yeah, hold on. I'm sorry. I was just reading something real quick. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Okay. So yeah, the I know you had mentioned something about I forgot how you worded it, but basically things repeating itself. This, I believe, is still in regards to, and I'm gonna read something real quick. So we in Isaiah 28, right? I'm going back to Isaiah 1. I just want to go back to Isaiah 1, and I want to read the very first verse. I just want to read the very first verse. It says, the vision of Yeshua, or Isaiah, son of Amos, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. Here's the key. In the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah. That's all I want to go back and read. I'm going to read that again. The vision of Isaiah, son of Amos, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of who? Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah. I just wanted to go back to the very first verse, introducing Isaiah's point of view and what he's bringing out. That is what Isaiah is about. That's not my words. That's not Yadaya's words. That's not Yosef's words. That is the book. That is the scriptures. That's what it is. So let's go to where am I? Let's go for verse 14.
Man, I want to read it in the KJV real quick. I'm gonna go to. What was I? I'm sorry. At 10, it says precept upon precept. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. For with stammering lips and another tongue will I speak to this people. All right? That is the most out of context scripture I've ever seen in my life, because that is being used to say you don't need to know Hebrew to understand the Bible.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, while I encourage anybody to at least understand some concepts of the language, you know what I'm saying? Because you got to learn, that's learning Hebrew. Sorry. It's still Hebrew if you learn the concepts of the language. But this is not a good thing. We've just established this. It's like, so when he's speaking to them, he's saying, but when I speak to these priests and these prophets and these other people, it's going to be in a tongue they don't even know. They ain't even going to know what I'm talking about. That's what he's saying. They're not going to understand what I'm saying. It's like a judgment to the priests and prophets. It's like, let's not turn this and say, yeah, this is talking about not knowing the language. No, it's not what this is saying.
Now I look at that a little different, and this is how I look at it. I'm going to tell you why I pointed out the stuff I pointed out. They were supposed to teach the people a certain way, and they didn't, right? And read this one part now. Before I even got this version, I was speaking the way this is about to speak. I'm going to read this one more time since you brought that right back out.
And I'm going to read it the way that
it says, for it is a commandment by commandment, like y'all said, it will. This is another verse. Commandment by commandment, line by line, line by line. A bit here, a bit there. For as if with unintelligible speech and in another tongue does one speak to this nation. So for as if, so it's like speaking to you with a language you don't understand I'm saying to you. Because I told you to be a rest to the weary, but you wasn't a rest to the weary. You erred in vision. You did this. So it's like I'm speaking to you another language. How many times y'all talk to y'all kids like this? Or better yet, how many times have your parents talked to you like that? Because we don't speak to our kids like that today.
Let me just kill it with this phrase right here.
Let me say this last part before you say it. My mom spoke to me like, huh?
No, go ahead.
My mom or my grandmother would have spoke to us like, man, am I speaking another language to you? You ain't understanding what I'm saying? That is what he's saying right here. Because if you go up, you see he said he told them to be this to the people, but they weren't. They were sitting up here, tell them do this, do that, and if you want to be real, I mean, you go for it. I ain't supposed to go for it because y'all don't like, we don't like really doing that. But that is the consistency of how these leaders that wasn't really following and listening to the Most High, they did. They wasn't doing that to the weary. So it's like I must be speaking to you in a language you don't even know. That's how I see it, based off of what he's saying. From my point, I'm not saying I'm right, I'm not saying I'm wrong, but that's how I'm saying, that's how I was bringing it before even all this Hebrew and all that. Like, I remember, man, I could bring my cousin Andra on this line right now. If I could, I used to say to him, man, I don't think that scripture, the way they use it, is right at all. Because if you read this contextually from the beginning, it doesn't. It's not saying that.
Shemai, let me just read something to you. So tell me, do you still think that way when it says this is the rest wherein the weary to rest? Okay, this is refreshing. Yet they would not hear. And then in 13, that the word of the Lord was unto them, precept upon precept upon precept. It was, maybe I'm reading this wrong, the word of the Lord was unto them, precept upon precept, line upon line, here, there. And then it says,
yes, I still think
that they might go and fall backwards and be broken and snared and taken. I ain't see that precept upon precept being good when they say that they might go. Now, maybe that might be or
Hello?
I'm just reading it wrong.
No, it's not good. I didn't say it was good. I didn't say it was good at all.
Huh?
I agree with
I'm saying that. Yeah, I'm saying like, yeah, of course you said that people using it wrong, but I don't know if the precept upon precept. I said I feel like that it relating that they gonna fall. That's why that was the downfall of it. When I say that they might go and fall backwards and be broken and snared and taken. That's just how I read it.
Right.
Now,
that's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen because of what they did. That's what's gonna happen. They wasn't teaching it. They erred in the vision. They erred in the way that he told them to do it, and it was as though he's speaking the whole. So the language part to me, what I'm saying is like it's like I spoke this. It was kind of more so. It was kind of more so, like we said, like I said, a punishment in the sense to me. Like the
stammering
it came off as though he was. No, I don't think it's saying that he's going to give them a different tongue. He's not going to let them speak another tongue because that's the case. We won't see them still speaking Hebrew after that, which we know historically they still did. So that ain't saying that. You can stick me in front of any of these leaders. That's not saying that, bro. that wouldn't even line up with history.
And the
Definitely
foreign tongue is a mocking. It actually should be translated in a mocking tongue.
That's what I was saying.
That's real. That's like He said with stammering lips and a mocking tongue will I talk to these people. And you talking about that's what you want right there. This is it. Foreign tongue.
Right.
He talking to me in a foreign tongue.
Yeah, but you also, just to add in a point, you kind of said it, but, I had some elaborating thoughts on it, where it says, so they walk and fall backward and are broken, trapped, and captured. So these people that's coming are foreigners. You don't understand them, so therefore you can't get away from them. It's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? It's like they saying so. They say, hey, go around the back way. You don't know what they talking about. You run around the back way, somebody waiting on you. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. So, if anything, because remember, when they come to Assyria, they understood Assyria. You know what I'm saying? Assyria they speak Aramaic. A lot of Hebrews understood Aramaic, but they talking about some other people.
And they still do today.
Right. So, they talking about some people that you ain't gonna understand. They gonna mock you. We even in the beginning of the chapter, it was talking about little kids mocking them, talking about by the mountain and stuff like that. So,
that's context right there.
Right. So, that's all really I would say on that, man. I don't want to talk too much. Did you have something after that?
No, I really wanted to pinpoint that for me in this chapter. I'll let y'all go if y'all have anything, and I'll just comment if you have any off what you say, off what y'all say.
Okay. The next thing I had, just keep going into that. It say, therefore, hear the word of Adonai or Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh, you scoffers, who rule this people who are in Jerusalem. Then it has the colon again, as I explained. So it's elaborating on that thought. Because you have said, we cut a covenant with death. We made a pact with Sheol. So when the overflowing, hold on. All right. The overflowing grounds passes through, it won't come for us. So basically it's saying like death gonna pass us, like we cool, like the Most High can't get us type of deal. Like we made a covenant with death. And this is kind of like their attitude. He's talking about their attitude and why they are scoffing. And, you know, a lot of times we relate scoffing with not believing in some particular thing. But it's not that with this. They believe in the Most High, but they saying they made a covenant with death. The Most High can't, you know what I'm saying, reach them. So then it goes into talking about, for we have made lies our refuge, we have hid ourselves in falsehood. Therefore, thus says Adonai Elohim, behold, I am laying in Zion a stone, a tested stone, a costly cornerstone, a firm foundation. Whoever trusts will not flee in haste. So what is he talking about? When they just were talking about, in context, we have made lies our refuge. We hid ourselves in falsehood. The Most High said his word is truth. Or somebody said that about the Most High word, right? So this foundation is his word. He's saying if you believe in his word, you know what I'm saying, and you trust in that, then you won't flee in haste. But I will make justice the measuring line. Okay, so this even tell you, I will make justice in the measuring line and righteousness the plumb line. What is righteousness? His word. So it's saying that, you know what I'm saying, justice, that's a weightier part of the law. Righteousness is what the law is for. So he going to measure you by those things, is what basically what he's saying. The foundation, the stone, the tested stone that he putting in Zion has to do with his word, establishing his word, establishing justice amongst the people, because the people that's there ain't doing it right now. And that's why this stuff going to happen to them in the context of what's going on right then and there. Because if we go back to the beginning, like Brother Shemai did earlier, all this should be talking about during them times. Go down to 22, it says, so now stop your scoffing, lest your shackles be strengthened. So he talking about during this time, when they getting caught, captive, stumbling, all this stuff has to do with this, Assyria, Egypt. For I have heard from Adonai, Elohim, Zavaot, which is the Lord God of hosts, of destruction, determined upon the whole land. So here it says whole land. It didn't say whole world. That's all I got for that chapter, and we just got one more chapter. I'm about to call on my other phone because I got to do something real quick. So if I'm in and out, that's why.
All right. He put all that out there, you know, that was good, man, because I was going to talk about the cornerstone thing, and I had like 15, but that's perfect. I'm not going to go back over that, but I just want y'all to, I know y'all have heard these words before, so this is sensitive for some, but it's the truth. This is just what the words say. I ain't anybody add nothing. Then it says, give ye ear and hear my voice. Hearken and hear my speech. Okay? So he's telling them to listen to this. This is what I need done. And notice, like I say, in context, what the Most High is telling everybody, for the most part, is y'all got to do right. Okay? So, and I ain't have nothing else for the rest of that. I wanted to get that part to that give ear. Give ye ear.
All right.
And then, no, go ahead.
No, if you got something else, go ahead. I was just about to say, before moving on, if anybody had anything to say or add, go ahead, in the queue, press 1, and we'll bring you in. If not, we will just going to continue. Hello? Hello?
We hear you. I'm here.
Got my earpiece cut off. Anyway. But yeah, that's all I was going to say. Anybody in there, or are you on the board or no?
No, I ain't go on my phone. I seen y'all had it, so I kind of.
All right, well, we'll just continue. We'll continue. If you have do you have anything else before we go forward?
No. We can continue.
All right. Well, now we're going into 29, and this chapter is it's both sides. It's a chastisement, and like a deliverance, so to speak, for Yerushalayim. Now, verse 1, I didn't know what this was until I had to look it up. So I'm going to tell other people if you haven't. So I'm just let y'all know. But it say, "Oh, Ariel, city where David encamped." So I did not know at this point that it was referring to a name for a temple altar. That's what the whole Ariel is. And it symbolized like the whole entire city of Yerushalayim. But you accumulate sins year after year until your holidays will be.
Before you go on, Ariel means Lion of God. So, like it has to do with Jerusalem. It's a reference to Jerusalem, and because we know Lion of Judah, and Judah was located there. They the one that built the temple. The temple came from Dawid. The ideal came from Dawid, but his son Shlomo is the one that built the temple. So that's why it has that reference like that. That's just a little more information that I had looked up.
Right, that's why I also said it symbolizes the entire city of Jerusalem too. I don't know if you heard me say that part, but definitely connected, confirmation too, you know what I'm saying, bringing that out a little thoroughly. So yeah, at this point, he's letting them know what they are doing. You're accumulating sins year after year until your holidays will be terminated. I will bring distress to Ariel. There will be agony and grief, and it will be for me like Ariel. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's referring back to something that took place in Kings when he's saying it would be like to me like Ariel. So I guess I have to go back and check and look into that. But I think from my notes, it's chapter 18 in Kings. are going down. So basically, letting them know what's going to happen to them for these sins that they accumulated. Did y'all have anything before we go further? Before I go further down?
How you keep going? For me.
Well, so at this point, we're just saying that he's telling them what's going to happen, what's going to transpire with them for what they have done, as far as with the sins is concerned, going down from verse 2 all the way to verse 9. And at this point, if we read it, it says, "Ponder it and be astonished. They have been utterly blinded and blinded others. They were drunk, but not from wine. They staggered, but not from liquor." So we see it's connected to verse 28. Chapter 28. "For Yah has poured upon you a spirit of deep sleep, and He has closed your eyes, and the eyes of the prophets and your chiefs, the seers, He has covered. To you all, the true prophecy is like the words of a sealed document that one gives to a literate person, saying, 'Please read this,' and he says, 'I cannot, for it is sealed.' Then a document is given to an illiterate person, saying, 'Please read this,' and he says, 'I am not literate.'" So, going down to verse 13, this still connects to, like I said, verse 28. So it's a continuation. Chapter 28. It's a continuation. This whole chapter is a continuation of 28, and it's speaking more so on these, from my understanding, these leaders. The ones that erred in vision that it spoke of in chapter 28. That the Lord said, "Inasmuch as this people has drawn close to me with its mouth and with its lips, it has honored me, yet it has distanced its heart from me. This fear of me is like rote learning of human commands. Therefore, behold, I will continue to perform more wonders against this people." Now, we know that through the leaders, it's people that follow leaders, right? So if the leaders are erring in vision, then they're going to cause the people to err as well. So at this point, we're seeing
Can I say something on that, touch a little bit on what you just said, and you can continue. I just want to say, man, go back to what the Most High had told them in the first place. Like, you want a king over you, and he ain't going to do nothing but mess stuff up. I'll give you what you want. I told you ain't want no king. A whole bunch of stuff finna happen. You know what I'm saying? That's why that's why he was hot. Like, are y'all serious? All right. That's all I'm going to say on that. That's touchy, too.
Go ahead, continue for me for a second, please. If you have anything else, just jump in and I'll just come back on the back end. Hello?
Yeah, yeah. You there? Where'd you leave
I'm
off?
here, but I'm not by my notes or anything like that. I was just going off the top of my head when I jumped in at first.
Okay. Smart, what verse did you leave off?
That was verse 13, basically.
Yeah, I want to comment on some stuff that you just said. So I got to kind of read it again because so I can remember what what I would want to comment on. Give me a second. All right. That for the Lord has poured upon you a deep sleep, spirit of deep sleep that has closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers and the seers have he covered. Okay? All right, I've heard this. I'll just go, I guess I'll be the one to say it. This is not talking about everybody sitting over here blind. And even I want to also say, doesn't this sound familiar? That's all. No, it's not it. Sounds a little familiar. That's all I'm saying. And so we see who he's talking about, the whole scene, and the Most High is saying this stuff to this person, to these people. Now, I don't know what that means to somebody. It meant a lot to me. So, that's what it is. Yeah, he did an excellent job. I don't even have to go over some of this stuff because I thought, he touched on some real good stuff. That's why I said I just gotta try not to super double talk. And yeah, then honor me with this is in their time. You know what I'm saying? Because the word of the Most High is for them. They will honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. There's another one. And I just got to be the person to address the elephant. Like, all right.
Hey, if I can add, while y'all trying to, figure it all out.
Yeah.
I just want to say an important part that you said was that you were talking about making everybody blind and stuff like that, right? So if we keep the context, we got to go back that it is to the drunkards of Ephraim. That's who he's talking to.
Right.
We started from the drunkards of Ephraim, talk about vomit on the table. This is from the region where the priests be at and the prophets.
Mm-hmm.
So when he gets down to this chapter, he's talking about he's going back and which I love about Yeshayahu, he explained himself. We ain't got to figure out what Yeshayahu talking about. So he say, look, I wasn't talking about no real liquor. I ain't talking about they around there drunk for real throwing up on the table. I'm talking about a spiritual drunkenness. I'm talking about these boys blind. You know what I'm saying? So he broke it down. He let you know. You ain't have to figure that out. He told you that. And if he hadn't have told you that, you better believe that they over there drinking some whiskey or something, throwing up on the table. That's how my mind set up now. I'm not finna guess. You gonna have to tell me. And Yeshayahu have never failed us yet to explain what he meant. So it's all connected to Ephraim. So we can't say is it safe to say, let me ask, is it safe to say to y'all that if you're not the priest or the Kohen in Ephraim, in the land of region of Ephraim, this don't pertain to you? Is that safe to say?
Man, that's what I was saying. So
yeah, it's safe to say.
Man, look.
Can you use this as an example? Like, you acting like at this time, sure, but to take 28, like I was dwelling on, and use that to apply and say, hey, I'm giving you a new language, it's false. Because if it was true, then historically they wouldn't be speaking Hebrew.
It's another verse that they talk about that they correlate with this. So it's another.
Yeah, the pure language one.
It talks about that pure language thing. Yeah,
and that's not even that's not contextually meaning that nor is that actually we're not there yet. I'm sorry for the listeners, but nor is that the Hebrew word, nor is that attached for that. If that makes sense, this is why I do advocate or tell people you should learn or at least look into the actual words when you're studying the Bible. That's because we've shown, like perfect example, and I'm going backwards. I'm not going forward. With the worshiping. we've shown, I brought out, that it was 3 words attached to that. And which word is he speaking of? Because we see that Dawid, or was it Solomon, one of them, I forgot which one it was, bowed to his mother. As the king, he bowed to his mother. Oh, but you can't bow to nobody? See, which bowing is it? Which word, which Hebrew word is it? Okay, some don't attest to what I'm saying, don't agree with it, that's fine, but it's facts. You know, it's a certain worship that the Most High is talking about. And it's one of those 3 words. I forgot them right now off top. But it's one of those 3 words. So same with this pure language stuff. And Zephaniah 3:9. Same with this in Isaiah 28. You have to go deeper than just reading. You're not no spiritual. And I'm in my feelings a little bit right now. What kills me is I think it's no balance when it comes to, and I don't know if I said this yesterday. I wanted to. If I didn't, I feel like we become so spiritual. And we believe that the Most High is tapping into us so much that we don't have balance of true understanding. We don't have balance we don't use the sources that's given to us to truly understand. You know, I believe that the wise men and women, they didn't just hear from the Most High from a standpoint of, hey, this is what you do, blah, blah, blah. I believe when they did hear, he led them some direction to get more understanding on what mattered, whatever it was. So the same thing that was for them is for us. We reading this stuff, and yet we're forming all of these doctrines. Why? Because we're not really looking into the actual source. Brother Mercy talks about it all the time, talking about sources. You know, so original source is the Hebrew, what's the name? The scripture. Do we have it in front of us? No, but we have other sources to get to it. You know what I'm saying? So I said all this, and I know I'm ranting, but to say, man, we can't be so spiritual from the standpoint of we feel that we're the people of God, which we could be and are. I'm pretty sure, whatever, that's cool. To the point where we don't have to learn no language. We don't have to learn language. We don't got to do this. Well, guess what? It's a lot of doctrines being formed because nobody want to go further than just, hey, we the people. So I know what this means. Come on, man. That's pride. That's all I got.
Yeah, I had something to say also. Just so if anybody has ever told you you was blinded, if you ever run into some person and they use this line on you, you blinded, you know, and you be like, do you know where that come from? Okay? Because it's been an insult that I've heard a lot. I'm for real. It's not even funny. But I laugh at it now because it's happened so much. So if you ever try to bring some stuff to someone, and you might try to bring something, and they're going to throw these scriptures, and if they, you know, of course you got to walk these people through these things sometimes. You're like, but, okay, where's that scripture that he's going to put a veil over people's eyes? Okay, you got to go to, like, well, this is where it originally came. So, you know, you got to be feeling like you blinded, you know, because sometimes people could be mean. But I don't care if people mean to me, because I'm kind of mean. Whatever. I think that's all I have for that chapter anyway. I just wanted to say something about that because, yeah, that people using all these scriptures out of context to talk about people. You know what I'm saying? And I think actually I had a post up, just a memory from like a year ago on my page, and it was just joking. It was talking about the biblical curse words. You know what I'm saying? I think I need to add one to this list, like be blinded or something. But this is, you know, something I've seen and heard, that type of stuff. And going through it and reading it, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, most I ain't putting no veil over my eyes.
Hey, you better darn well be living in the mountain region.
Right, he ain't putting no veil over my eye. I ain't no problem. I ain't do this stuff. So why would I have to deal with that? You know what I'm saying? Why I got to be
a drunkard of Ephraim. I better be a drunkard of Ephraim if you telling me this.
Man, for real. And that's what I'm saying. People actually searching, and I'm just gonna say just a little bit. I'm just saying people are actually out here searching, and we combing the scriptures, and y'all actually see us comb scriptures and stuff like that. But if some of y'all don't understand, just from bringing stuff out like this, you become an enemy. I'm telling you, I am an enemy to a lot of people. I don't care. I'm going to continue to bring out truth. I'm going to continue to show you things in the scripture. Because I know I didn't read it and I thought I knew something. And it might not touch everybody, but it might touch somebody. So, but this is the type of stuff we get called. We be blinded. And I know Shema and the other guy probably heard the same, well, yeah. They heard the same thing, along with other words. And y'all, the people that's on this show, they listen to us faithfully. Y'all see what we do. And all we doing is just reading it. You know what I'm saying? And read. That's all we doing. We reading and going through it. Say, look what I saw. Look what I saw. Like kids in a candy shop. And bring that same information to us, some people that don't want to let go of a doctor, and you become all kind of names. But need to hit on that. Let's proceed. I said I didn't have nothing for them. Rest of that chapter.
All right, so I just want to read some before we go to the next chapter. Last chapter.
Go ahead.
Oh, wait, we got somebody in the queue. Hold on, y'all. Something told me to go on my phone because I'm not on the the desktop or anything like that. So I went on my phone. Before I bring this person in, just allow me to read this last part that I wanted to really read out real quick. Just something put on me to read. Verses 18 through 23. I'll read it real quick. On that day, the deaf will hear the words of a book. And from darkness and blackness, the eyes of blind people will see. The meek will increase their joy in Yah, and the poor among the people will rejoice in the Holy One of Israel. We have seen what the Holy One was, actually, contextually speaking, y'all. I really advise those that's listening, or come back and listen, to go back if you can. I won't talk on that now. For the fierce man is no more, and the scoffer has ceased to be, and all who strive for iniquity will be cut off. For those with a word cause man to sin and ensnare the one who gives rebuke at the city gate and mislead the righteous with falsehood. This is still connected to chapter 28, and we're going to see that in chapter 30, beginning in chapter 30 as well. Therefore, thus said Yah, who redeemed Abraham to the house of Jacob, Jacob will not be ashamed now, and his face will not pale now. My name, they will sanctify the Holy One of Jacob and revere the God of Israel. Those of misguided spirit will attain understanding, and complainers will learn instruction. So I just want to read that, let it marinate on the listeners.
Hey, can I speak on that a little bit too?
Go ahead, and the person that's in the queue, just stay there for a second if you can, because we know.
It's real short. It's real short. So basically, I'm glad you read that. Like I said, I had to run somewhere real quick, so I'm actually driving. I don't got nothing in front of me. So glad you read that. I do recall that being something that I had in my notes. But sorry, I'm a little distracted. There's a bunch of traffic and stuff. But yeah. So it said they will establish his name or something to do with his name. And we know what his name is, the Holy One of Israel. We read it in context since we started Yeshayahu, and that's Yod Hey Wow Hey. So I just want to, I don't know if you said that or not, but I just want to emphasize on that. And you can go ahead and let the call in.
No, good stuff. Good stuff. I'm going to bring the call in, 312-307. You are live.
Yo, blessed Sabbath, brothers.
Shalom.
This brother Janoy. just wanted to touch bases with y'all, man. I was hollering at Shema earlier this week about some things, but I don't really got nothing to, to rebuttal with nothing that y'all talking about. I agree with everything. I think it's real deep, and it's due to be investigated more because, I mean, if you really look at it, you don't know if being blinded, being blinded could be a good thing or a bad thing. I don't want to jump ahead because I know y'all don't like it, but, Paul was supposedly blinded before he came into era that he came into. And then Shema just read, before he let me in the queue, he just read the key scripture that apply to it too. He said, those that blind gonna read the book. You know what I mean? So, you necessarily don't really know what if it's a bad thing or a good thing. Like Shema said, they erred in vision. I was looking, and I noticed Shema had pointed something out to me earlier this week. I noticed, I'm like, all the prophets have visions, but you gotta have vision to have a vision from the Most High. Like, you can't just not be seeking His words. Your eyes got to be open for His word, and you got to be seeking His word to even discern that you having a vision from the Most High, to know what it is. I want to touch bases on that stuff y'all was talking about with the Hebrew tongue and stuff. That's nonsense, man. People shouldn't be encouraging people. I've been through that, what you talking about, where people will call you blind and whatnot. Well, hey, how they know that you ain't been blinded for the better of yourself? Because, like, Paul was blinded for the better of himself, to serve the Most High. So, man, I done heard people tell me don't mess with the lost books. They are the devil. You mess with the lost books, you're going to get lost, all type of stuff. But this stuff is really fear. And the Most High God of Israel, you fear Him. He don't want you to feel learning about Him. So, it's hypocrisy. I agree with y'all on that note. I'm not as heavy into learning the Hebrew or speaking the words as y'all are, but I do understand the severity of going to look up a word. Now, you can't tell me you're going to look up and define a word in English, but you're not going to look up the origin of this word, whether it be Latin, Greek, or Hebrew. That's it don't make no point to even look up the word in English. It's like, because you're still ignorant to what this word came from and what it means, what it was supposed to mean, or what the root word means or whatnot. I just wanted to touch bases and, shout y'all out. I'm listening for that. I'm waiting on that album, Yada Ya. You know what I mean? Hopefully I could be a hype man or something at you and Shema concert. Y'all gonna do a live concert, a duo. Me and Oak can be the hype man or something. No, but man, I enjoy listening to y'all, man. Much peace and blessings, brothers.
Appreciate it. I want to say something on what he said real quick. I'm gonna bring you out. Press 1 if you want to come back in. I want to say again, this isn't to push people to learn Hebrew. It was just a perfect example, like what I had brought out with the worship. I asked my stepfather, I said, if I bow down to you right now, according to the doctrine that you understand, am I doing something wrong? Yeah, you shouldn't be worshiping me. I said, well, in the whole customs of the Hebrews, that they did that. They bowed down. Even today when you do a show and you do a play or something, we bow down to the audience. It's a cultural thing. So my question is, it got to be deeper than that. And when I started studying it, sure enough, it became deeper than that because I found out it was actually 3 different type of words. But it's in KJV or any English version most of the time, not all, it's only telling you one word, worship. It's not telling you that this is actually a different word for a different purpose. So that's one thing. One thing else I want to say in what he said was the blinding thing. I think that I'm glad he actually mentioned that as far as when he used Shaul as an example. And it reminds me of something that Yah used to say. He was when they used to say, man, y'all falling away. And he would say, instead of to y'all we falling away, but maybe it's a great, what you would say, it's a great falling away, but it's
Great awakening.
A way of great awakening. So it probably goes with what it goes with what last thing I'm gonna say, promise. Goes with what Janoy bringing out in response to this scripture. Why do I say that? Because if you're falling away, right, that would mean that you are blind. He's saying that sometimes you're blinded for the benefit to get to where you're going, to where the Most High is taking you. So in contrast to Yediyah, falling away, great awakening, goes back to this very last verse when it talks about the misguided spirit will attain understanding, in my opinion. I could be wrong. So sometimes this whole blind thing can actually be, like he said, for the purpose to you actually have more understanding than those that's calling you blind. With that, I'm done.
When you done, I got something to say.
I'm done.
Oh, okay. So
press 1 to know, so I know you want to come back in or something too. Press 1 so you can get out the queue out, so I know if you press 1 to get back in too. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to say, I caught the last thing you said. You said it say the misguided soul will obtain what?
Understanding. Misguided spirit will obtain understanding.
Check this out. It said misguided soul. Them leaders was misguiding them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's context.
So in essence, what it's saying is that you fell away from your misguidance and you obtained some understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So you were sitting up under some old blind leading the blind type of deal. But because what they say, they both fall in the ditch. That's what the New Testament teaches. They both fall in the ditch. But guess what? You went astray from that. The leader fell in the ditch, and you found your way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I see that. You was blind because your leader was blind. But
that's what happened in 28.
When you broke away from that, you caught you some sight and some understanding. Like, oh, okay. And you let them keep walking and fall in a ditch.
And wait, this is proving that it's not talking about language. This is proving that it's not talking about language right here. If you really think about it, 28, the chapter before, going into this right here, this ain't got nothing to do with language. This has something to do with understanding and understanding the vision that you erred in. So I'm glad. I just thought about that right now, which I already said that, but I'm just capitalizing on what you're saying in contrast to this verse. So with that, I'm going to yield. If Yosef have anything to say, go ahead. We have Janoy, I think, back in the queue. I'm going to bring him back in after y'all done. Then we got one last chapter to get done so we can, let everybody be on their way.
Yeah, I'm almost back to my humble abode. So
I was going to say something. First and foremost, Shalom, Janoy. Been a long time hearing from you. You should stop by more often. No, I mean, he pops in every now and then. But he still pops in, you know what I'm saying? But it's been a pleasure hearing from him. I see stuff he posts on Facebook. He hit the likes, but I don't hear it. I don't get the chance to hear that deep voice, man. Long time hearing from you, man. And I had to
like the voice of God.
It wouldn't even be right if I ain't saying nothing about, so anyway, you still my homie though, still the same. All right. Well, as far let me just go just a little caveat on the. Like I said, you don't have to learn. People don't have to learn the whole language, but you have to learn the basis of how the language is constructed or something. And even that much is learning the language. Even when you go pick up 1 or 2 words, actually, that's actually proving the point. You picking up 1 or 2 words, and then it's like, all right, I got to know that. Okay, but how much more do you know you don't get that you feel that you don't have to know? Like the just the way that the language is set up. Like, even if somebody learns that, it might give a little bit more understanding. But to actually dive yourself, this is how I am right now. This is how I feel. To actually dive yourself into this, Israelite culture thing, this thing is a culture. And that whole people dive themselves dead into cultures on the Discovery Channel. They live like them. They eat like them and such. We eating like them. We on Shabbat like them. You know what I'm saying? But they speak like them also. Because understanding the language is, I didn't know that the reason why it gives you so many definitions of the verb is because sometimes, depending on how that verb is used, it's giving you a different, it means somebody did it to them, or they did it themselves, or how hard they did it. So you can look up the word, and it's going to give you all them definitions, and you just pick one. But seeing the word and knowing that, at least that breakdown, you'll be like, nope, that means somebody did that to him. But right here it say that he did it to himself. Is a bad translation.
So in essence, I want to jump and say something. In essence, he's saying you can't just pick, and it goes back to Brother Mercy. I don't know if he's on, but it goes back when he had said something about, well, we could just pick this. No, we can't. We can't just pick a word. I don't know if I don't want to quote him wrong, but that's what I perceived or thought that's what he said.
No, I think he was saying, I don't know. Maybe I'm in a different conversation. That was a long time ago.
No, basically, I just want to say what you were saying. You can't just pick. You have to know the context, and then, like you said, he did it to himself. It was done to him. How hard he did it. And once you know that, like he's saying, I'm shut up after I say this. You would know that, hey, I can't just pick this word. This word won't go with this because it's not saying this in regards to like the binyan, which I don't know what the binyan is, but that don't matter. But yeah, that's basically what.
All right, but for real, like that's why I say one word. It actually can mean multiple things because it'll be something hooked up to the front of it or hooked up to the back of it. And it changes the whole meaning of them symbols. That's why they're like, oh, they ain't got that many characters, so they ain't got so many words. But the way the word sounds is different. So now we ain't going to get into a language thing. We're going to actually, they talking about, some big plans on, going over some of the stuff in this language. And once you dive yourself into this culture, though, you start learning how they think. That's what I'm saying. Like, learning the language has opened my eyes to how they thought, how they expressed themselves. It's just simple things that be like, it's just crazy to me, and I'm not trying to boast up. I am boasting up the culture. I am boasting up the language that they spoke. You dig what I'm saying? They made sounds, like their things is sounds, like, what's fly? A zoop, that's a fly. Zoop. Yeah. Because it makes that sound. That's what a fly is to them. And certain things make sounds. I'm not going to go into it. It's a beautiful thing. For real. It's not what people like demons saying sometimes. And I ain't saying it's no use. But I'm just, caveating also. People are demonizing it but see, like I said, he still sees that he got to it. All I'm encouraging is, man, we got to do better. You know what I'm saying? We do got to do better. That's my perception. And we got to step our game up. If we going to say we doing this, man, we got to be all in. Some people was all in when it came down to the gangs or the drug gangs, all in. We got to be all in. If this is what we say we going to do, because I think of some different stuff in my head, like the perception of how salvation going to come is how I seen it in the Bible. And I don't want to speak the same language these people speak, for real. Not with the people, you know what I'm saying? Because, that's the salvation I think. Maybe if something go down or something like that and they like, nah, these people growing too big and trying to be a community, they might not try to go allow us to be no community on their American soil. We seen what they did before. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure they done it more times than it was broadcasted. When I speak to my brother, I'm going to speak to him. and he read, whether or not he speak biblical Hebrew. I don't even care if he speak Yiddish, because if you know Hebrew, you're going to know some Yiddish somewhere. You might ask a couple words, but they just copycat it. You know what I'm saying? But
I'm going to say Yiddish, actually.
That's my war. It is a different language.
It's different. Yeah, it's different. Like mom,
a lot of words.
Mother and dad and brother and all that. It's different.
Elohim,
words.
they don't even say Elohim. They say Elohim. Like, they just old quaff in the middle of it. Like, what?
But I'm saying, like, totally different word. Like, Abba for father is Tate. Or something like that. For father in Yiddish. Totally different. So it's not the same language, so people need to stop saying Hebrew and Yiddish is the same thing or something like that. Anyway,
and it's documents also. And look, we ain't gonna bump up the language, but we passionate about it only because of the stuff that we learned. But we actually gonna we some of this for say the stuff that y'all trying to prepare, and bring out some of these things. This is just info, like it's some good info, but that's all, man. Sorry, I didn't want to get on the language thing too. But as I started realizing I was talking, I was like,
let me write that on my notepad.
Yeah, when I started talking, I was like, man, I got to stop talking because it's something I'm passionate about, and I would like to put out a lot of information. That's the time I get the and I can't be like that. Save some for some different time. All I can say about the as far as the blinded thing, I mean, he got a great example. You know what I'm saying? As far as an analogy is concerned with me, as far as is that the blinding was a good thing to wake them up. You dig what I'm saying? So
yeah, man, you gotta blind people. You gotta blind people of what they seeing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just taking the example he gave with Shaul, Paul, he was out there persecuting Christians, right?
I was just going to say
he
that.
Was on the road to Damascus, killed some people, right? And then he was blinded. You know what I'm saying? To take him away from what he was seeing, to have him doing what he was doing. So I can totally see where he coming from. I can open my mind to that ideal because before you left whatever organization you left, before you got to the organization you with, you was blinded from what you thought you saw in that organization, and it made you move on. And that's the only thing that's happening with any of us. You know what I'm saying? Even the point to where we at right now. He was blinded, if you want to call it blinded, from what we thought we saw. And now that you know what I'm saying, we got to really feel around if you want to really go super metaphorical. When you blind, what you got to do now, you got to use those other senses. You got to use your touch. You got to really, really be trying to get to where you're trying to go. You know what I'm saying? Because now you don't have the luxury of being able to use your eyes. So now you got to really dig deep. You got to learn Braille. You know what I'm saying? If I can see, I ain't what I'm learning Braille for. If I think I can see, you know what I'm saying? But when I go blind, oh man, I gotta learn how to feel what these bumps is, so I know how to read a sign. You know what I'm saying? I know what flow I'm going to on the elevator. You know, and that's how it is with this Hebrew. We thought we saw something with that KJV until we got blind and found out, oh man, this is something wrong. I gotta learn Hebrew. So,
man, we thought we had something until we followed on the show. Not fault, but we was over here like, nah, I wouldn't have did that over something simple as not putting a no in there or not recover. And that was like my last step, like right there. And then I seen how they rendered a couple words, and I'm like, why did they say that? It's not an original thing. All right, I see I can't trust none of you. What can I trust? I can trust my own eyes. I can trust the own brain that the Most High put between my eyes. That's what I can trust. And that's what I'm going to trust. I ain't trusting none of these men that translate and say, here's the best thing for you. Word. That's me personally.
Where did y'all stop at?
Well, I said I was about to bring
we was
and then we go on to the next chapter.
Yeah, we was in 29. Yeah, he had about finished it off, I think.
It was finished. We was just about to go to the next chapter.
Yeah, he read all the way to 24, yeah.
Alright, if I miss something, it's cool. I just go off of chapter 30. You say you gonna let Janoy in? You want me to let him in?
Yeah, go ahead. So we can get it rolling. Right. Finish this up.
No, you live.
Yo, I don't. My fault, y'all. I ain't even gonna hold y'all long. I'm gonna make it quick. I know y'all gotta keep the schedule. But I just want to agree, like Shemai and you too, O, but Shemai and Yedadiah, they summed it up perfectly with like how I was saying it. Like I remember when Yedadiah was hashtagging the Great Awakening compared to the Great Falling Away. I remember that, but that's exactly what I was talking about, you know what I mean, as far as like people being blinded. And it's not even so much as you falling away, because you actually, in so many words, you're setting yourself apart by going astray from what may be incorrect or who may be misguiding you. That becomes a part of setting yourself apart, because if we look as an example, all the prophets, the high priest and everybody, the Israelites, they didn't like the prophets that was speaking the truth. All the prophets was rebelled against, you know what I mean? So that's just what I was talking about, period. You know what I mean? But y'all go ahead and push on. I ain't gonna hold y'all.
No, good stuff. Good stuff. So moving along, press 1 for me, man, so I know if you wait, I got Will. He taking them out probably. When he take you out, just press 1. Take you out, press 1, and then so we'll know you want to come back in if you decide to. So last chapter. Last chapter is continuing, of course. And I love these 3 chapters because all 3 of them are connected. 28, 29, 30. You cannot separate them because it's a continuation of the topic, right? So, woe, O wayward sons, the word of Yah, who take counsel, but not from me. Why did I say this was connected to 28? Because he said that you erred with the vision. This goes into what I was saying when I was saying, like, man, it's like you don't understand what I'm saying. You doing your own thing. You know, then you see right here, he says, not for me. You taking counsel, but it ain't for me, who accepted a ruler, but not of my spirit, in order to add sin upon sin. You know, so all this stuff, and this is what I mean when I'm talking about consistency, man. We can even connect this to the king.
Nah, you want me to tell you when this happened, though? Want me to tell you when this happened? Remember when I might morph this into some First Chronicles, but remember when they asked Pharaoh for help, and they were sitting there talking to him on the thing, and like, "Oh, you think Egypt's gonna help you?" They said, "You think Egypt finna help you?" The dude was sitting over there talking to the people on the fence, or wherever they was at, sitting on something. And he come over there, and they had, remember, one king had to go back, had asked for help. Now, mind you, if we look more deeper into it, I'm pretty sure that's going to line right on up. And because they did ask for help at a time in the past, and, this could be speaking to them. Well, I'm fine. It's like Shema said, if you go back to 1, it'll tell you what time frame you're talking about. And we've been pointing out where it happens in 2 Kings and everything. But go ahead, I might try to find it real quick. So somebody take it, I'm going to see if I can find it.
So, but out of my spirit and inquire of my mouth to seek strength in Pharaoh's stronghold and to take shelter in Egypt's shade. So, hold on 1 second. Where my notes at? So yeah, this is talking about what you were speaking of too. Like he's pointed out, this talking about what he's speaking of. What he's speaking of with the when they sought out to ally with Egypt. For his officers were in Zoan, his messengers have reached Hanes. Everyone has been ashamed by this people and who cannot benefit them, not of assistance and not of benefit, but for shame and even for disgrace. Did y'all have anything at this point? I really didn't have too much.
Hold on, I'm trying to go back and find something real quick, just like that. But go ahead. I'm saying I'm still listening. I don't think you
look in 2 Kings chapter 17 and 18. That's probably what you're looking for. But go ahead, Eddie.
Yeah, because I was at 19.
Yeah, 17 and 18.
17 and 18. Right.
Like 17, 4, and then 18 and 21. Perhaps, I mean.
But yeah, this is just talking about, them trying to get help from Mitzrayim or Egypt, and it fails, and the Most High just saying, if you go to 7, it say Egypt's help is futile and pointless. Therefore, I have called her Rahab, who just sits. So, basically, to let them know Egypt can't help you. Now.
Hey, check P game though. Here we go. When they had called the king, there came out to them Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah. Then we just read about this dude. This is like crazy. Which was over the household of Shebna the scribe and Joah the son of Asaph the recorder. And Rob Shakeh said unto them, Speak now to Hezekiah. Thus says the great king of Syria. What confidence is there in thou trustest, thou sayest, but they are but in vain words. I have counsel and strength for the war. Now on, who dost thou trust? Thou rebelled against me. Now behold, thou trustest upon the staff and the bruised reed, even upon Egypt, upon which if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, unto all that trust on him. This is what the message came. To Hezekiah from Eliakim. The one that has the government is going to be on his shoulders.
The one that's over
Hezekiah's business.
house. And we see them right there coupled together. So
and then he's telling him exactly what the Most High is telling him. This is just flipping in there. This is where you see it. This is your this is, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about that one. I think that's it on that one. And it's 2 Kings 18. That's what I see it. And I mean, you can read it, the whole thing. And if you go down to verse, if you need just a specific verse and you don't want to read the whole thing, it's in 21 where he talks about y'all trusting on the staff, even on Egypt. And if you go up where it says, if you want to look at the context, where does it say that? I started it. I think you should start at 17. 18 and 18. Yeah, 18 and 18 is where you get your context of what it happens, where he starts, where the message comes to him. But I will read the whole chapter. I'll read the whole book. Anyway.
It's your flow, Shamar.
I think Shema. Say for this,
Okay.
where we at? Yeah. So we going into 8, because I just hit 7, and this is talking about a witness against false prophets. So now when we hit 8, it said, now go. And this is deep to me. Now go, write it on a tablet for them and inscribe it in a scroll, so that it may be as a witness for the last day forever, right? So I'm noticing a pattern. They have a scroll and then they have a tablet where they say the testimony, I want to say, is them tablets, or the witness, where it talks about the law and the testimony, because I'm noticing they always pairing these two together. They got a scroll, then they have a tablet, a stone tablet that they actually inscribe, or that they chisel these things into on stone. You know, and that's where our saying comes, put it in stone.
That man ain't going nowhere.
Right. So that was one of the things I say, you know, or they say, oh, it ain't in stone yet. You know what I'm saying? Because once you put it in stone, you can't get rid of it unless you break up the tablet. So I think that was culturally something significant as I'm going through. And then it say, for this is a rebellious people, lying children unwilling to obey the Torah of Adonai. They say to the seer being a prophet back then, do not see, and to the prophets. Remember, they joined them together, so the seer term went away. They just made it prophet. But at one time, it wasn't even a word prophet. It was just seer. Then prophet came into play. Then they merged them both together, and they got rid of seer. So do not prophesy to us what is right. Speak to us smooth words. Prophesy illusions. That's what this version say. But I think it say falsely in the KJV or something like that.
It say deceits.
Illusion. Get out of the way. Turn away the path. Let's hear no more about the Holy One of Israel. Now, this is what's so deep to me, is because in their mindset, they don't want to hear anything about the Most High. They want to basically do away with the Most High. And to be honest with you, this is a rest show topic probably, but just to be real brief on my thought, is that I kind of see that in this day and time. I don't hear a lot of people talking about the Most High that much. But anyway, 12, therefore, thus says the Holy One of Israel, because you despise the word and trust in oppression. Man, that's cold.
Man, for real. I got these things highlighted too. He was coming hard.
Go ahead and speak on it then. I'll let you take over.
I was gonna read it. You know, he said because, well, it kind of elaborate, because you despise this word and trust in oppression and perverseness and stay thereon.
Therefore, this sin will
be.
Okay,
therefore, this like iniquity shall be. Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
I was going to read that one too. Therefore, this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant.
And he shall
this
break
quote
it.
This quote going on an album. Let me. I'm about to go ahead. Keep reading, man. I gotta write this down.
And he shall break it as the breaking of the potter's vessels that is broken in pieces. He shall not spare, so that there shall not be found in the bursting of the sherd to take fire from the earth, or to take water withal out of the pit. A lot of good lingo in there, huh? We'll read it from a different verse.
It's 30 and 12.
Right. All right. Therefore, the crookedness is like to a breach ready to fall, a bulge, a high wall, breaking coming suddenly and swiftly. He shall break it like the breakers of the potter's vessels. Y'all got that part. Oh. And he shall break it like the breakers of the potter's vessels, with broken in pieces without sparing, so that there is not found amongst his fragments a sherd to take fire from the hearth, or take water from the cistern. For thus says the Most High, set apart one of Israel, in returning and rest you are saved. And stillness and trust is your strength. But you would not. You said no. For we flee upon horses, therefore you flee. And we ride swift horses, therefore those who pursue you are swift. He's telling them right there. 1,000 flee at the rebuke of one. And at the rebuke of 5 shall flee until you are left as a pole on the top of the mountain, as a sign on a hill. Now
this is where my highlight come in.
At 18?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead with it.
20. So this
now,
was,
also, I wanted to make sure that he say, he's telling them that they kind of doing this to themselves.
Right.
Well, go ahead. You got 18.
And then this, what you just read is cold too. There's something about. Let me write that down. Flea doctrine. Because here, but you said no. We will flee on horses. Therefore, you will flee. He told them to sit still. But they talking about fleeing. So I think that's deserving of a little bit of further investigation on what he actually trying to say. But going into 18, it said, therefore Adonai is longing to be gracious to you. So we see grace already. We've been seeing grace a long time ago, but this is just right here is just saying that the Most High, because people say, oh, he didn't show grace into the New Testament. You know what I'm saying? Or he wasn't, he changed. He became a loving God, some people will say. He was a God of judgment back then, but now he about grace and love. Well, here, he already had
always
he showed
love.
grace. He always showed that. You know what I'm saying? He longed to show that. He said, thus he will be exalted. Now, this is good stuff. He be exalted so he may have mercy. So, through him being exalted, that is where his mercy comes in. When he is exalted.
Compassion on you. Yeah.
Right. So that's a key element to getting his mercy. A lot of people say it's unmerited favor. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
This he said that thus he will be exalted. So, you know what I'm saying? That's a conjunction. So he may have mercy on you. So we see there's a condition right there. For Adonai is a God of justice. Blessed are all who wait for him. He's saying wait on the goes into some, for the people of Zion or dwelling in Jerusalem will weep no more. He will surely be gracious to you at the sound of your cry. All right, there's another key element, crying out. When he hears you, they did that in Mitzrayim as well. When he hears you, he will answer. Though Adonai gives you the bread of adversity and the water of oppression, your teachers will no longer be hidden, but your eyes will see your teachers. Your ears will hear a word behind you saying, this is the way, walk in it. When you turn to the right or when you turn to the left, you will defile your graven image. There we go again. Overlay with silver. He will say, stone. Then he will give you rain for your seed. Talking about literal rain because the land is desolate. That's what we've been seeing. But you will sow in the ground, bread, the produce of the ground will be rich. But this the thing, like a concept, before we even get to this, because when we go back to Eden, when they sinned, he cursed the ground. Most High been cursing the ground. So we know this got to be a literal thing. He cursed the ground and he say thorns and thistles. And you will make bread by the sweat of your brow. That means it's hard for you to even produce bread, bro. And these are all places where it say the Most High Spirit dwelled there. But he's cursing his ground. But when his presence is there, he's feeling like in the mind of a Hebrew, Most High has cursed the ground, made it hard fruit of your labor. You got to work extra hard to get little bit and then produce anything. This is the concept. Body take over.
Well, you ended up off it. We ended up. What verse are we on?
I was on 20, 21.
Okay.
22.
Yeah.
I stopped at 23.
Yeah. You read 23 because you was talking about the rain.
Yeah,
right?
I said I stopped.
That's why.
I stopped.
Okay. And did you have something before I pick up? But I'm gonna pick up around 47.
You know, I'm done with the chapter for me, honestly.
Okay. It's in context. You know what I'm saying? I can't read them all or whatever. It's still.
27, you said?
Yeah.
All
right. Okay. See, the name of the Most High is coming from afar, burning with his wrath and heavy smoke. His lips are filled with rage, and his tongue be a devouring fire. His breath shall be an overflowing stream which reaches up to the next to sift the nations with the sieve of falsehood and a misleading bridle of jaws of the people. Let the song be to you as in a night set apart for a festival and gladness of heart, as he is going with a flute to come into the mountain of the Most High, to the rock of Israel. So you come into the mountain of the Most High, okay? And that little thing is there that says, link this to the previous statement, whatever Jedediah called it. And it says it's the rock of Israel. That's a comma. And it says the rock to the rock of Israel. All right, and then the Most High shall cause his excellent voice to be heard, and show the coming down of his arm. Okay? Now, we know what the arm stands for, right? Have we ran over this? Maybe we haven't. We ain't did this yet. Have we ever talked about an arm yet? Because I'm probably somewhere else. You there, one of y'all? Okay, then I can go there.
Whatever he using to do his work.
The works. Yeah. The arm is signifying works. I mean, that's what your arm do. Okay, but with raging wrath and the flame of consuming fire, with scattering downpour and hailstorms. Okay, this is bad. Okay, you had something, yeah?
Yeah, I got some in 27. It says,
okay. Go ahead,
look,
Nick. Yes.
Adonai's name comes from afar, which, when I say Adonai from this version, it's Yod He Waw He. So, look, Adonai's name comes from afar, burning with his anger, in thick rising smoke. Now, this is, I don't know what other versions say, but to me, this is the same thing as to say the cloud. So it ain't like it's, like we said before, a cloud that's coming down from the sky. It could be that. You know what I'm saying? But to them, they associate the Most High present a lot of time with his anger with a cloud of smoke. And when something's on fire, you get that thick black cloud. So, and when you also see it, it says burning with his anger in thick rising. So that means something's on fire if it's rising. Rising smoke, his lips full of indignation, his tongue like a consuming fire. So I just see something catching on fire here, and they recognizing it as the works of the Most High, and that's how they identifying it. So a lot of times, like when it's dark days, we see dark, thick clouds. And to them, a lot of people, I remember me growing up, people would say when it's thundering and lightning, it's like God mad. You know what I'm saying? And then they used to say when it was crying, like God crying. So all these thoughts, all these ideals continue in the mind of human beings. So it's not far-fetched for us to see that these, how much different could they be from us when they come up with all these little stuff like this? So, to me, it's just a reality of looking at, what was done then is carried on within us. You know what I'm saying? And we have all these little things. I remember they had a super stupid one that was like when it was raining, but the sun was out, they were like the devil beating his wife. You know what I'm saying? So it's like just
what?
Little stupid stuff like little stupid stuff like that.
Beating his wife.
So anyway, so I just wanted to, say that wasn't nothing too big, but then I got 29. You will have songs as in the night when you keep a holy festival. So this kind of showing me that, I'm being very biased, or not being biased in my approach, so I just got to point out everything. You will have songs as in the night when you keep a holy festival. So I guess they be singing songs at nighttime when they have...
Hey, where's that verse about the cistern? Is that in the last verse?
In what?
That was in the last verse when we was talking about, I've just found something, I think. When you said you was going to highlight it for your song.
Oh, that was 30 and 12.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Did you have anything else? You want me to just continue?
Go ahead, continue. I got something. You just continue for a second.
We got 10 minutes left, please.
All right. So we got this talking about them being punished and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't really have much more. I'll cut myself short so O can go so we can get to these closing statements and all that.
Go back here. I just see this speech. Hold on.
Some just run across the yard. Did y'all hear that?
Right. Oh, that's the wrong version. I'm sorry. So, I got what you say to me in 1822. What you say to me? We trust in Yahweh, our Elohim. Is it not he whose high places and slaughter places Hezekiah has taken away? And said to Yehuda and Jerusalem, bow yourselves before this slaughter place in Jerusalem. And now I urge you to give a pledge of the master, sovereign of Asher, and then give him 2,000 horses. Then said Eloquim, son of Hilkiah, and Shebna and Joah. Sorry, I'm not even going to go through all the names right now because y'all not understand. Okay, it said Shebna and Joah, Reshacheh. Please speak to your servants in Aramaic, for we understand and speak to us in the language of you. I think I done found something even more so that links it to this time. A loud voice, language of Yehuda, spoken, hear the voice. Great sovereign Asher. Thus, do not let Hezekiah, he's none to leave of God's hand. But do not listen to Hezekiah, for thus says the sovereign of Asher, make peace, will be present and come, and let each one of you have his own vine. So didn't we just read about something about Asher? Man, I put it. I probably have to make a post on the page because I got a couple posts I got to make. I'm not gonna take the time looking for that. I thought I saw something that the exact words, but I didn't see them words again when I went back, so I probably skipped a verse or something. So anyway, I was just showing that it links up. If you could probably mirror these some of these words that Isaiah say, you can go back to 2 Kings and around the same areas, and you'll see these speeches and like who they talking to and everything, and you'll see what's going on at the time. You'll see why they're talking about Asher, and you'll see why they're talking about Egypt and stuff like that. So all in all, I'm just gonna say it's been a good show, and I hope to see y'all on the rest show next week. Yeah, y'all be the host, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So hope to see y'all next week on the rest show. We got a bunch of topics throughout the week. Like always, add any topics that you want to the Facebook page, or if y'all got one of these other brothers' social media or myself, you can hit me up, say, that we talk about this and we went over or blah, 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 blah. That's it. Shalom. And talk to y'all later.
Well, just being brief, I enjoyed the show. I wish I could have been here for every part of the show. I missed a little bit, so I'm going to go back and listen to the few things that I missed. But, man, as we keep going forward, it just get thicker and thicker, more things come out, more resets are hit. So it's had been a great experience thus far in the book of Yeshayahu. Like you said, next week we have a rest show. I will post about maybe what we plan on talking about, and I'll create that, and I'll keep y'all informed. Other than that, shalom, ulei hitreot.
Well, turned out being a great show, of course, as always. Good stuff came out. Appreciate everybody that tuned in, and I don't have anything to add Other than, if you haven't, go to Shema Talamido, SHAMATALMIDO.bandcamp.com and get your free download of my mixtape, Mixpod album without the rights, as you did, y'all would say. Get your free download, man. You know, it's free. You want to donate, you can, but other than that, it is free. And let me know what you think. Clear your minds. I'm going to pray us out. Father, we thank you for another opportunity of fellowshipping on this platform and going through the literature of your people and learning their thoughts and their ideas concerning the matters that they dealt with. We ask that you allow these things that we're learning to help us in our journey, our individual journey and collective journey as a people of today. We ask that you just direct us in the same manner that you did them back then. We ask that you look after those that are really seeking you and help those that are just lost or being blinded by the blind. We ask that you allow them to gain understanding. We ask these things in your holy name. We pray. Amen. Again, you all, you have a good one. Until next time. Letras.